Thank you for coming to today's webinar on promoting wellness among student affairs professionals in higher education. This presentation has been brought to you by ACPA's Mid-Level Community of Practice, as well as the California Community Colleges Student Affairs Association. Today we'll be hearing from Dr. Patty Witkowsky, instructor and coordinator of the Science Program at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. I shall now turn the floor over to Dr. Witkowsky. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to focus on your wellness and the wellness of those that you supervise. This is a very easy topic to ignore because often the effects of not focusing on your wellness are delayed, and not until it is too late do individuals realize how focusing on themselves could have been a benefit. Living a well life requires intentionality, consistent effort, and constant reevaluation. It's my pleasure to be here with you all today, and thank you to ACPA for having me. I have developed this webinar with several desired learning outcomes in mind. I hope to share new ideas about wellness to benefit both you as a professional and also to help you influence the culture of your department, division, and ultimately your institution. Following our time together, we will examine the trend of unhealthy habits by those in helping professions, develop an understanding of the theoretical underpinnings of the wellness movement, understand why wellness is important to you, identify how your position helps and hinders your ability to make healthy eating and exercise choices, learn ways to implement habits and behaviors to promote holistic wellness, identify how supervisors can influence employees' wellness, and finally determine action steps to take towards wellness. Many of the webinar topics we see are focused on improving a specific functional area, addressing the unique needs of a critical student population, or responding to a potential crisis on college campuses. This webinar does not necessarily fit into one of those categories, but is significant for many other reasons. I personally chose to work in higher education because of the opportunities we afford students to improve their lives through the experiences they have inside and outside of the classroom, to learn about themselves, others, and the world around them. As leaders in higher education, if we hope to instill wellness and balance in the lives of our students, it then follows that we should be consistent with this value when it comes to ourselves and our staff. Student affairs professionals often use Stanford's approach of challenge and support with students to promote their development, and so a goal of our profession should also be to develop our staff with similar supports in mind. Although I am unsure of exact retention rates of students who complete master's programs in student affairs and then leave the profession after their first position, from my experience in the field, it is unfortunately common that we lose promising professionals to careers outside of higher education. Anecdotal evidence points to burnout and a lack of support in the challenges of their positions as possible causes for their departure from the field. If we are to grow and strengthen our profession, investing in the wellness of student affairs professionals should be a priority. Focusing on wellness also promotes personal growth and change towards the positive. Although supervisors' responsibilities are first and foremost on the task at hand, working with people also requires us to nurture them personally. As professionals feel well, are more satisfied with their lives, and can see their daily work in higher education as part of their wellness, they are likely to become more effective. Nationwide, in the general workforce, many companies and organizations are finding ways to promote their employees' wellness through programs and initiatives because of evidence that it leads to fewer sick days, lower insurance costs, and other such tangible benefits. Finally, many student affairs professionals are young, and developing healthy habits early in one's career can benefit them long term. It is no secret that taking care of yourself early can prevent future problems. To summarize, the significance of this webinar is the learning we hope will impact professionals as individuals and your organization as a whole. A major component of the education of those who pursue a counseling degree consists of exploring their personal values and how previous experiences in their lives could influence their work with their clients. Many in student affairs work with students during very challenging times. And although most of us are not trained counselors, we must work with students in ways similar to counselors. A focus of counselors' training is in self-care, and given similarities in our work, self-care should also be a focus for student affairs professionals. When you get on an airplane and they are going through the safety procedures, you will hear, "Secure your mask before assisting others." This is a wonderful reminder that if we are not breathing, we are unable to help others to breathe if something were to occur in the pressurization of that airplane cabin. However, this phrase is also helpful as we begin to explore wellness within the field of student affairs. In order to serve as an effective mentor and support for students and those you supervise, you should also be focusing on yourself. So think to yourself, what are common thoughts when you hear the phrase, "Put yourself first"? Here's your initial opportunity to interact with the webinar. Please have the person at the keyboard share any responses from those of you in attendance, and we'll discuss them when they arrive in the chat box. So the question again is, what are common thoughts when you hear the phrase, "Put yourself first"?
Patty, we're typing something in. Hold on.
Okay, thank you.
Are you getting those, Patty?
Yes, I did. So the idea of being selfish, I mean, that's definitely something that we hear. And so taking time from your own, taking time for yourself as opposed to giving of others in a profession where we're supposed to be giving so much is sometimes a challenging dichotomy that we need to figure out a balance between. It also says, someone else also mentioned, it comes naturally, which is great. So you don't hopefully feel that guilt, but we know that unfortunately, some professionals do feel that guilt when they have to leave early or take care of themselves when other students are feeling like they need your attention. Thank you very much. Now, think to yourself times when you put yourself first and times when you have not. Consider what have been the impacts of both of those choices. Asking these types of questions of yourself and those you supervise begins the process of self-care and helps to critically evaluate the impact of various choices. When students see student affairs professionals constantly stressed out and not taking time for themselves, several problems arise. First, they begin to see the world of work in this way and themselves become unwell workers, whatever career path they may choose. And second, they may become uninterested in pursuing a career in student affairs themselves because of the behavior we have role modeled. The phenomenon of what we currently refer to as wellness has evolved over the past 50 years or so. Since its original definition, wellness has had three key characteristics. First, it has been considered multidimensional, involving physical, mental, and social components. Second, individuals' ability to pursue wellness is influenced by their environment. And third, an individual's sense of wellness is constantly changing based on their choices and the environment in which they make those choices. To understand when and where wellness came onto the landscape of higher education, I will discuss its history and then continue with the discussion of various components of wellness. The history of wellness promotion in higher education is often noted as beginning at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point within the Student Life program in the early 1980s. Following their lead, several other universities across the country sought to promote wellness among their students during this time, including James Madison University, the University of Virginia, the University of South Carolina, and the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. The wellness programs were focused on the student population, but as we know, In order for professionals to promote programs for students, we must first understand them ourselves. William Hetler was among the student affairs professionals at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point at this time. He is known for developing the 6 dimensions of wellness, which are a common foundation upon which wellness programs on college campuses are developed. Hetler's model of wellness includes physical, emotional, spiritual, occupational, intellectual, and social components. Each of these will be discussed in greater detail later as we explore specific ways student affairs professionals can incorporate them into their lives. As wellness efforts and research have continued over the past 30 years, additional components, which are very applicable to the adult professional population in student affairs, will also be discussed. These include cultural, financial, and environmental wellness. As we work with students, it is challenging to accurately foresee when times of high stress are going to occur. We do know of several events that we can look at and examine how incorporating wellness principles can offset increased stress. Starting in July, practitioners are often preparing for undergraduate and graduate staff training. When you are composing these training calendars, be mindful of the length of each training day and also the amount of work remaining in summer responsibilities, such as conferences that need to still be completed despite training sessions that may be happening concurrently. Consider breaking up daily training schedules so that there is a morning and afternoon rotation that allow for longer lunch breaks, more office time, and breaks that can be inserted between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Additionally, if serving food at these trainings, purchasing high-sugar, high-fat items like donuts and cookies, instead of that, choose food items that contain complex sugars, such as yogurts and fruit. During hall opening and orientation times, recognize that you're on your feet for most of the day in the summer climate, so plan ahead by drinking lots of water each day. Arrange for water coolers so you place in residence hall lobbies and also in high-traffic areas on campus, such as the student union. During staff selection events, take water with you to the interview station and encourage your staff to do the same. When attending professional conferences, which are coming up, such as ACPA, plan ahead and consider the amount of time you are spending in meetings, attending programs, and networking each day, as to give you an idea as to how much downtime you will need to recover. Also remember that many of the adjacent restaurant locations at the conference center will be busy during lunch, and it may take more than an hour to get seated, eat, and pay the bill before you can get back to your conference. So if your conference calendar is tight, be proactive about your diet by bringing small snacks with you that you can take along, as well as keep them in your hotel room. When called into a crisis situation, it's important that you are aware that these occurrences in most incidents consume your daily calendar in terms of the hours you will need to attribute towards resolving the crisis. To compensate for this, try to pencil in time in your calendar to exercise, as this will help alleviate stress and will put you in an environment that is void of any workplace distractions. And finally, for those who participate in grading papers for class, or even those that need to complete semester evaluations for staff members, I suggest creating a timeline for completing this task in a way that is manageable, such as establishing a set number of papers to be completed each day or by the end of each week. By creating a feasible timetable for completing tasks, you are lowering the likelihood of putting yourself in a situation where you will need to complete the bulk of your work in a short period of time, thus lowering your stress levels, hopefully for you as well as your supervisor. It's important to note that by creating the expectation that staff members need to be in attendance at the majority of campus events, this can be taxing on staff members and then also on your calendars. I say this with respect to each department's unique position responsibilities. However, this expectation can easily lead to burnout amongst your staff members on the front lines. For those in residence life or student activities, consider establishing the expectation that you will only attend 1 or 2 programming events facilitated by each RA per semester, or that you will attend weekend events on a bi-weekly rotation. This will give your staff members a reasonable expectation at the onset of the semester, and will also give a staff member more downtime and the ability to arrange their schedule that includes open nights and weekend times. Also, if you're a supervisor for several hall directors, for instance, consider requiring less hall directors to attend campus events like those during orientation, as opposed to saying that all hall directors have to be at all events. Let them choose certain events that they are specifically interested in attending, and this will help them feel more positive about their attendance and also give them the much needed downtime during elongated days in August. I want to make note of some best practices around the country and what they are active in. One group that I want to make notice of is the Wellness Ambassadors Program at the University of Iowa. This group serves as a liaison connection between their respective departments and their employee wellness program. They actively work to be catalysts in the promotion of wellness principles on campus and also feature a newsletter that includes current information on campus surrounding topics such as flu prevention and also solicits participation in wellness-related events such as health screening. The University of Colorado, which is a system in which I work, offers a variety of wellness-related initiatives such as being able to earn $25 per month by logging at least 10,000 steps or 30 active minutes 12 days a month as measured by a fitness tracker. What I appreciate most about the CU Wellness Program are the resources related to promoting financial wellness among faculty and staff. Their website has a number of resources which are for public use if you're interested in what they have to offer. And finally, the University of North Carolina offers a comprehensive wellness program to their employees as well. All three of these are very large campus systems with a variety of resources for these initiatives. Even if you're not on a large campus or do not have coordination within your system, you can still promote wellness through smaller events. I know of one school with approximately 5,000 students that held a triathlon competition and has offered yoga during the day to teach relaxation exercises. Oftentimes, wellness initiatives are developed from the ground up, and so you can gather resources from larger institutions to begin developing similar initiatives on your campus. As I mentioned, I will now discuss Hetler's 6 dimensions of wellness: physical, intellectual, social, emotional, spiritual, and occupational in more detail, and relate them specifically to action steps you can take as a student affairs professional interested in promoting your wellness and the wellness of others. I will also cover cultural, financial, and environmental wellness. Because of its focus on promise and hope in improving lives, higher education can be a wonderful environment in which you foster your holistic wellness. Unfortunately, however, stress, politics, financial constraints, and student crises can become overwhelming. Next, I will focus on the possibilities as opposed to the impossibilities of wellness in higher education. It's my hope that some of these suggestions will resonate with you and that part of your action steps following this webinar will be to implement some of these practices. Physical wellness incorporates multiple aspects, including exercise, nutrition, safety, and illness prevention. And there are several ways you can influence this aspect of wellness by working in higher education. Food abounds on our campuses, from all-you-can-eat dining halls, grab-and-go options, and numerous fast food establishments on campus or within a mile of campus. Eating right can quickly go wrong. However, you can take control of the food offerings around you. First, there are always committees for functions in your department. Volunteer to order food for events, and don't be shy about suggesting where to go for lunch meetings. For example, I really dislike oatmeal raisin cookies and won't be the first to grab a slice of apple pie or cheesecake. So I'll order items like those for events to ensure I will stay away. I also often suggest ordering food from a restaurant with healthy options. When you can't control what is being served, have a healthy snack beforehand and use portion control when your favorite item from the catering department is served. At dining halls, all-you-can-eat facilities can be a blessing in disguise. Load up your salad plate and have a small portion of the chef's daily special on the side. Instead of the tempting ice cream on your way out, try to grab a piece of fruit instead. Most dining facilities are outsourced to a larger corporation, and they can provide the nutritional information for their items so that you can make informed choices. Another opportunity to work with your health promotions department or human resources to set up healthy living seminars. In the community where I work, there is a high rate of diabetes. So the city's health department received a grant to host a diabetes prevention class on campus for 12 weeks to promote healthy eating, exercise, and track weight loss. Find out if there are opportunities like this in your community or write a grant to be able to provide them. Another opportunity on your campus may be a Weight Watchers at Work program. When I was an employee at Colorado College, the Human Resources Department subsidized part of our enrollment costs as employees and provided space on campus to hold a meeting once a week. Not only did this make my involvement consistent and cost efficient, but I was then able to develop a built-in support group on campus. At my current institution, we are offered a 50% discount through Weight Watchers, even though the meetings are not on our campus. You can also work as a group to lose weight by organizing a Biggest Loser competition or something like that. At Colorado State University in Pueblo, where I previously worked, we collaborated with our health center to be the central point for the weigh-ins, and the Student Affairs Division competed against the Institutional Technology Department to see who could lose the highest percentage of weight. Opportunities to be accountable to others and yourself can do wonders. Try to avoid unnecessary snacking on unhealthy items in your workplace. Don't put candy on your desk or try to take candy from others. Instead, be the one to provide healthy options at potlucks, and always keep healthy options at your desk to resist the temptation when you realize you forgot to eat lunch and there are homemade brownies just steps away. As a culture, we often celebrate with food, but if you're rewarding your staff, try to celebrate with other things than food, such as hosting a craft night, broom ball at your ice arena, attending a sports game, or conducting a scavenger hunt with non-food prizes. I've included a link to a variety of different tracking apps that can assist in managing your food intake and steer you to the right choices. One of the wonderful things about working on a college campus are the well-maintained grounds with many sidewalks and long stretches of traffic-free walkways. They are also usually safe, so you can walk around relatively carefree with your iPod tuned up. Using your lunch hour wisely can have many benefits to your wellness. Listed here are a few ideas for incorporating exercise into your daily work routine. Keep your athletic shoes under your desk and go for a walk, or when having one-on-one meetings that don't require a computer, suggest going for a walk and talking about the issues on the agenda while on the go. Campus gyms often allow staff to use them for a minimal cost. If that's not an option, work with your Human Resources Department to change that policy. When it's time to go to a meeting, walk briskly, or purposely schedule meetings in another building to help you get out of your office. For some, depending on the nature of your position, you may also have the chance to use exercising with your students as an opportunity to build community or one-on-one relationships. Your supervisor may even promote collegiality by allowing you to organize a team within your office for lunchtime intramurals. Finally, if you have the flexibility in your schedule, put time to exercise in your schedule so that you aren't able to make an excuse for not fitting it into your busy day. I've included a link to fitness-related apps to help with your fitness goals if you'd like to check those out. Eating right and exercise are the common areas associated with physical wellness, but there are several other areas to attend to. Getting adequate sleep is important to remain high-functioning and allow you to have energy to exercise during the day. Developing healthy coping mechanisms for stress in the workplace helps to manage it and keep you satisfied with your work. Taking care of your skin and working on smoking cessation if you smoke, and wearing seatbelts also promote wellness. Your environment, both in your home and at work, should support your wellness. Install smoke and carbon monoxide detectors in your home, and if you see concerns in your workplace, report them immediately to facilities or your physical plant department. Another prevention technique is to schedule regular doctor and dental visits, as well as get your blood screened annually. Many campuses offer free blood screenings. I highly encourage you to take advantage of it and bring the results to your general physician, particularly when there are problems. As professionals in higher education, intellectual wellness is somewhat easy to work towards because of our environment. It is important for us to display the value of lifelong learning as we hope to instill it in our students. Part of being the best in student affairs is remaining current in the field to meet the needs of our students and our institutions. Give yourself some credit because you're doing that today by attending this webinar. Try to attend webinars and conferences whenever you have a chance. To share your knowledge with others, present at conferences, or conduct research of your own. With the membership to ACPA, there are many opportunities to read publications, such as the Journal of College Student Development. We are also fortunate to work in a challenging field marked by constant growth and change. You can organize a book club around higher education related issues to informally discuss topics that may have not yet reached your campus. Within your department, when new opportunities are presented, instead of worrying about how much work it might be to add a new project to your plate, see it as an opportunity to learn something new and develop new working relationships. A benefit provided by almost all institutions is tuition remission. You can either take a course of interest here and there or pursue another degree. Many faculty members are often also present research topics of interest open to the campus outside of their classroom lectures. Attend those sessions to expand your knowledge of various topics. Finally, seminars are frequently presented over the lunch hour about financial issues such as planning for retirement, and financial advisors often conduct individual appointments through human resources. Don't hesitate to start planning and remain educated about your financial future. Social wellness is characterized by developing and maintaining positive relationships with others. This includes both those in your personal life as well as those in your professional life. Social wellness is also closely connected to environmental wellness. By making your space and surroundings comfortable and welcoming, you can promote positive social interaction with others. Take a critical look at your workspace and determine if improvements can be made to make it more welcoming. Many professionals find developing relationships with coworkers outside of the workplace a way to improve their relationships within the workplace. Finding time to make work fun and enjoyable promotes social wellness. Given that you spend so much time at work, fostering social connections during the week can promote your wellness. However, be cognizant about thinking you are fulfilling your social needs at work through those friendships and your constant social interactions. Oftentimes, social time with colleagues remains concentrated around work issues, which could increase your stress. Remember to develop and maintain non-work relationships as well. Emotional wellness includes the ability to have feelings and address those, both positive and negative feelings, constructively. First, it's important to understand your own feelings. Chickering's Managing Your Emotions vector is relevant for student affairs professionals, just as it is for students. By becoming aware of areas in your work that bring you joy and cause you stress, you can prepare for those times by scheduling stress-relieving activities during the day, or by simply enjoying the favorite parts of your job. It is easy to allow the negative components of our work to consume us, but try to incorporate positive thinking into your day. Learn to recognize the joy in your work, and the suggestion would be to document what you are thankful for during your day and to allow those areas to overshadow the stressful times. By fostering positive relationships, which relates back to social wellness, you're able to foster your emotional wellness as well. As a supervisor, find opportunities for your staff to build community, as it will not only assist in the development of positive relationships for them, but can also lead to high-functioning collaborative working environments. When your employees are working well together, reward and encourage them so that other staff members recognize the importance of focusing on relationships. Many institutions provide employee assistance programs that offer free counseling to employees for both work-related and non-work-related issues. If your employer offers this resource, do not hesitate to use it if needed. Also promote it as a resource to your employees. Finally, it's necessary to recognize that stressful environments are not always within our control. However, by researching and implementing effective coping mechanisms, you can continue to be satisfied in your daily work despite the inevitable challenges. Spiritual wellness is seen by a person examining their purpose and the meaning of their life. As most of you know, you can foster spirituality without necessarily being connected to an organized religion. As discussed earlier, one of the reasons this webinar about wellness is significant to our work as student affairs professionals is because many times young professionals do not take time for themselves or understand how their profession is connected to their life passion. When times are rough or you're at a transition point, it's helpful to reflect on your work and why you do it. Make this a practice among others you work with so that professionals can understand from each other why they chose this career. Many institutions provide religious and spiritual events, and I would encourage your attendance at them, not only to explore other perspectives, but also to remain grounded in your own purpose. Similar to the Employee Assistance Program connected to many campuses, campus chaplains or the Counseling Center may be possible resources for you as well. There are many religiously affiliated colleges and universities across the country. At one well-known school, Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C., there are several ways they support their mission, including holding liturgies, providing space for quiet reflection, holding a monthly mass for those who have passed, and hosting a prayer submission website to promote spiritual wellness among their students and staff members. Although some of these practices may not align with your institution's values, providing a quiet space for reflection may be a first step, as it does not target specific religious practices. Occupational wellness involves performing meaningful work using an individual's skills. Various aspects of your workplace environment contribute to your occupational wellness, including relationships, expectations for your work, resources available to you, workload, the support you receive from your supervisor and colleagues, and the type and severity of the politics. Developing positive feelings about your work and knowing why you enjoy it are important. The ideal work environment accommodates each person's strengths and weaknesses in a healthy way. Recognize each person's strengths and work to assign tasks based on the areas in which they excel. Staff will become more satisfied when they're able to do well and also feel more supported when they are learning to develop new skills from others who are naturally gifted in other areas. When conflicts arise with those in your work environment, work to resolve them in a healthy manner, whether that is on your own or with the assistance of your supervisor. Procrastination can negatively impact your wellness. First, you may lose time for yourself because of your focus on completing last-minute tasks. Also, stress levels may increase when there is pressure to complete projects in a short amount of time. Try to manage your workload to prevent unnecessary and unwanted stress. Finally, vacation and sick days are in place for when you need them. Take time for yourself, and as supervisors, try to be understanding of your employees' needs for personal time. Cultural wellness is being aware of your own cultural background, as well as the diversity and richness present in other backgrounds. It involves positive interactions with those different from you. A few suggestions for promoting cultural wellness is to keep an open mind and be aware of your assumptions about specific groups. The wonderful thing about higher education is its diversity and the opportunity to learn about those different from yourself in formal and informal settings. Make time to attend seminars and programs that challenge your understanding of certain groups, and also be intentional about making connections with those different from you. It's necessary to have a strong understanding of your own cultural background, not only to learn about those different from you, but to be an educator to others of your background and share information about your values and traditions. Financial wellness is much more prominent now than maybe it was 10 or 15 years ago, as we address the financial challenges in our homes, on our campuses, in our country, and across the world. It's known that many new professionals in student affairs are not making extensive amounts of money, but we continue to work with college students because it fulfills other needs. Given that, we should promote financial wellness among those in our field, help new professionals develop a household budget, and understand potential costs that may arise, such as saving for medical or dental bills. Remain knowledgeable about your credit score and use credit cards wisely. Try to pay off your credit cards each month to avoid paying interest. Working in higher education often affords us with well-developed retirement plans. Make sure you understand the type of retirement plan you're contributing to and meet with a financial advisor to determine how much you should be saving as you plan for your future. For new professionals particularly, many are leaving their graduate programs with student loan and credit card debt. They may not have budgeted well, and until they are taught to do so, they will continue the cycle of overspending. I try to find ways to inform young professionals about ways to plan for financial responsibility without making a large annual salary. One of the benefits of working in higher education are the opportunities to use campus resources at little or no cost. Look around at your institution and see how you are spending money that could be saved by doing things such as working out on campus as opposed to getting a membership at a local gym. Environmental wellness is an awareness of the state of the earth and the effects of your daily habits on the physical environment. It's about maintaining a way of life that maximizes harmony with the earth and minimizes harm to the environment. It also includes being involved in socially responsible activities to protect the environment. With the sustainability movement being led by many college campuses, environmental wellness is becoming easier to practice. To help make institutional change, if it doesn't already exist, recommend the start of a campus sustainability committee to help change the institutional culture toward environmental wellness effort. Take the lead on supporting the building of LEED certified buildings or developing a composting effort in your dining hall. On a personal level, you can learn ways to decrease your carbon footprint through workshops, research, and daily practices. At the past few ACPA conventions, there have been extensive workshops on sustainability to help teach student affairs practitioners how to focus on environmental wellness. Other ways you as an individual can have an impact include carpooling to work, recycling, purchasing food from farmers markets, and enjoying nature through outdoor programs on your campus. We have now covered the 9 areas of wellness, and I hope you will be able to implement some of these ideas in your daily life. A binding consideration for how we role model wellness attributes to graduate students and staff members, and it's central to why we must incorporate supportive supervision components into our daily practice. Developing a philosophy toward incorporating wellness principles begins with formulating how you can integrate each of the dimensions that I spoke about previously. This can begin with your revision of your staff expectations. How do you encourage your staff to take time off? How do you assist them in locating professional development opportunities on campus? Do you sponsor, either through funding and/or allowed leave time, attendance at professional conferences? Additionally, think about ways in which you can exhibit for staff members the ways you personally practice each of those items. Don't just state your wellness principles at the end of the year and not talk about them again. Refer back to these qualities in one-on-one meetings and during informal conversations throughout the year. You can effectively monitor your staff's hours by consistently inquiring to them about the time spent on items such as student judicial conferences, which is important because you may not realize the extent of time and effort that your staff is committing to their job responsibilities. By monitoring and asking your staff their hours, you're in a better position to advise them on how to utilize their time more effectively, and also to give them the opportunity to relay communication to you on how you can better support them through times of high stress. Also, when appropriate, consider providing social opportunities during work hours. You can use occasions such as birthday celebrations, approaching holidays, and professional recognition events to extend a lunch hour and provide food. If funding permits, consider offering incentives for staff members to attend the event, such as gift certificates to the bookstore or a paid attendance to a local professional development seminar. Remember that many human resources departments will also offer wellness opportunities, such as health screening events, that you can encourage your staff to attend as well. Be mindful of university bulletins that will advertise these programs and make mention of them at your staff meetings and/or forward the web links to sign up for these events. So hopefully you will want to establish a wellness plan if you don't already have one. And it's important that you create tangible, achievable, and manageable action plan that respects the assorted challenges that you as a staff member may encounter. Begin with a framework that specifies tangible outcomes for achieving wellness goals in a number of different methods and adheres to the dimensions I described. Setting out a complete large goal is fine. However, you should be cautious that overstipulating your capabilities to meet lofty goals may position you and your staff for failure. Set up goals that are achievable given your financial situation, both personal and departmental, current physical fitness level, and resources on campus and in the community. Think of ways in which you can measure these goals by creating benchmarks for assessing your level of progress. If beginning an office fitness program, for example, you may consider creating a website for staff members to go to and receive updates about a wellness program, fitness tips, and have staff update their progress on this site. Challenges that you will want to pay attention to are extended breaks in the academic calendar, where participation in a wellness-related activity may not be feasible, and participants might lose sight of their goals if their university office is closed. Be conscientious of establishing dates for wellness programming and also be mindful of the established allotted time for participants to achieve their goals. You'll see here on the slide some examples of what we have created to get you started. So given the web of wellness dimensions and their specific characteristics and the unique work environment that higher education employs, establishing a general wellness-driven workplace can be a complex process. Adding to this, the unstable economic climate further contributes to financial stress and uncertainty about long-term career planning. However, we find that making tangible strides towards creating a work environment centered on wellness principles is essential towards increasing the effectiveness of your organization and your staff. By positively contributing towards your staff's holistic health, you're assisting them and you with the needed tools to work more effectively. Help encourage students to maintain healthy lifestyles by role modeling. Think about ways to formulate wellness educational programs, and also adhere to the belief that as leaders in higher education, we must first hold these virtues for ourselves. Remember that overall wellness does not stop at the confines of our office, of the offices and our campuses, but reaches outside of our work environments as well. Just as we remind resident assistants and orientation leaders about the fishbowl effect, we must also be conscious of this application as well. I have some resource references, and if there's any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Patty. Do we have any questions at the moment?
I am standing between you all and a winery tour, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, so probably no.
And I'm just looking online to see if any of we had some participants online. Any of the participants online have any questions as of this moment? No? We're good? All right. Dr. Witkowsky, I think we are done.
Great. Well, have a good rest of your evening. Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, they're saying very good, if you can hear that.
Thank you. Maybe we'll see you at ACPA in Montreal. Yay.
Yay. See you in Canada.
Okay, see you in Canada. Bye.
This recording will now end, or webinar will now end.